Hi, everybody. Welcome into today's show here on JTV. It is Wednesday. I'm David. That's Adam. Thank you, the Insurance Circle Agency. Get in all the high school spring sports while you can today and yesterday before all that rain happens tomorrow and Friday. So
yeah, we might not be able to do the Jackson College baseball. It's not looking great.
Maybe not.
I'm hoping, but I just don't think so.
But if we do, 1:45 tomorrow, Thursday.
Yeah, if it does happen, and we'll let everybody know if it happens.
Yep, they are taking on Macomb, and me and Max Fritz will have that for you, doubleheader, first pitch at 1:45 on JTV. And Jackson College, real quick, speaking of JC, they're hosting a couple of youth sports camps coming up again this summer. Girls basketball camp, June 11th, 6 to 8 p.m. inside the field house. $50, any high school player, 9th through 12th grade. Great opportunity to work with college coaches and players and learn about JC's basketball program. So JC, June 11th, girls basketball camp inside the Vic Hewis Fieldhouse. Registration is now open. JacksonCollegeJets.com to register. And they have a baseball camp in June as well. 2 days. The boys ages 6 through 13, $85. Baseball camp teaching fundamental skills in the sport, catching, batting, pitching, fielding, rules of the game, etc. Develop your overall fitness and have fun there for 2 days, 9 a.m. to noon, JC Baseball Camp. You can also register right now. That's open at JacksonCollegeJets.com. So we may be there, we may not be there tomorrow, but we will let you know. So in high school spring sports, of course, check out our Center for Family Health Jackson County scoreboard each day on our website, each evening at jtv.tv, and subscribe as well for...
Oh, yeah, free. Sorry, I forgot that was my cue.
Free 99.
Free 99.
A lot of baseball, softball, girls soccer happening Wednesday. Lacrosse is at home if you haven't watched lacrosse yet.
I did because of the highlights on our show.
From when? Oh, Monday. We
Yes,
did highlights Monday.
That's right.
That was only 2 days ago. I forgot we did that.
Yeah. Does that feel like a week for you?
Maybe.
Yeah.
It depends on the week.
Yeah.
A lot of sports happening, so check out our photo galleries, too, from orthopedic rehab specialists at jtv.tv. And the next, speaking of ORS, the next run is, I believe, next week. They just had one, the Family Service and Children's Aid one at Parkside last Saturday. The next one, I believe, is coming up next Saturday. Don't hold me to that. Either next Saturday or the week after. So,
Are you going to participate in this one?
No, I have not done that yet.
Oh, man.
I forget who I was doing. I think it was a basketball game. Remember, me and Pat were talking about doing one like the next morning after we did a boys and girls game Friday night. I forget where we were at. There ain't no way we're going to do a doubleheader Friday and then get up early Saturday and do that.
Pat would have just had you show up and he just wouldn't have been there.
He would. That would be him.
Yeah.
So for all the spring sports and photos and scoreboard, check out jtv.tv. Thanks to Minuteman Sewer and Drain and Orthopedic Rehab Specialists. So coming up on the show today, the Pistons survived at Madison Square Garden, Game 6 Thursday night at LCA. Both Golden State and Minnesota can complete a gentleman's sweep tonight, Wednesday, in their Game 5 each. Besides Shedeur Sanders getting prank called, this just came in right before we did the show today. Another prank call happened.
I'm curious.
From an earlier pick in the draft than Sanders.
Well, I would hope it'd be earlier.
It was somebody who got picked in the top 5.
Top 5? Like top 5 picks? Oh, man. Okay.
And I haven't told you who it is yet or anything before we started doing this, so this will be breaking news to you.
Yeah.
And Micah Kretzinger, unfortunately, he didn't get drafted, but he is getting a shot.
Hey, and that's all you need, right?
Yep, more details on that coming up, too. And 2 of the 4 hockey games from Tuesday went into overtime, so had some good hockey on Tuesday night as well. And the Tigers lost both games Monday, Tuesday at Houston, and then they play this afternoon, Wednesday, on MLB Network.
Jackson Jobe on the mound. Okay, we're going to win this one because those last two were devastating. So we're going to win this one.
Yep. And did anybody see I know you saw it, the ridiculous Blue Jays?
Yeah,
center
Varsho.
field
That
catch?
was sick. That was sick.
And the Giants walk-off. Little
Yeah,
League
that was a couple
type
nights
home
ago.
run.
Yeah.
And Spring Arbor softball starting their league tournament as well. So a lot to get to when we come back. NBA playoffs, the Pistons survive
Woo!
and force a game 6. So it should be 3-2 Pistons, but it's not. So we'll be right back. Welcome back on JTV. Thank you to Pataki Orthodontics. A great smile, always in style. Check them out. Grass Lake, Hillsdale, and Coldwater. NBA playoffs, Pistons survive. They still trail 3-2. Big win. Really had to fight till that very last possession against the Knicks. Game 6 on Thursday night at LCA.
Let's go. We at least get one more playoff game in Detroit.
Yes.
At the very least. I would love to see a Game 7, though.
Which would be back at Madison Square
Yes,
Garden
yes.
on Saturday. But the Tigers do not play at home this week or most of next week. So there will not be Tigers and Pistons in Detroit on the same day. But it's great for Detroit. Regardless, win or lose,
Oh, yeah.
it's great for Detroit.
I was going to say, we put up more of a fight since the last few playoff appearances that we've had. So this one looked a lot better. And like you said, it could easily be 3-2. I mean, all these games have been very close.
Even though the Pistons won, I don't know if you noticed this from any parts of the game that you watched, but Jalen Brunson, how many fouls does he get?
A lot.
In his favor?
Yeah, a lot.
It's ridiculous. Pump fake on a 3. Whoever's defending, they're standing still, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter. Going for the offensive rebound, Mitchell Robinson, whoever's down there gets it. Towns, straight up, little bit of contact. That's what I don't get about those kinds of fouls. The defender's standing straight up, but the player who gets the offensive, whoever's on offense, will still pump fake. They drive into the defender to force the contact. The offensive player does. Nothing to do with the defense, and they still get the whistle. That's what I've never understood. Really should be an offensive foul if you think about it. I mean, they're forcing contact.
Right.
So that, and it goes back to my point about certain markets getting certain calls.
He's going back to conspiracy mode.
I don't think it's a conspiracy, but if you're the NBA, as far as money and TV, would you rather have New York and LA in a championship or
New York
deeper in
ain't
the
getting there. I was going to say they ain't getting further than next
Let me
round.
rephrase. Later, like postseason, would you rather see in bigger games a New York market team and an LA team, or would you rather see the Pistons, who are coming off the worst record of all time?
But that's
second
a great
worst.
story.
Yeah, but if you're the league and money, they would rather see New York and LA or Boston or a marquee franchise than the Pistons.
Wouldn't that be like a selling point, though, to be like, this team that last year was one of the worst teams ever, and now they're in the NBA Finals? Like, what a story.
Yeah, but the Pistons have only been getting recognized as of recent just because they're in the playoffs and they have to be on TV. That's it. Otherwise, nobody talked about Cade or the Pistons during the regular season. Nobody did.
Yeah, because I think some
outside
people,
of Michigan.
I think they didn't think that they were for real kind of thing. Like, okay, how good it really is, this team, but then you see what they've done.
And same thing with the Tigers. Nobody talked about the Tigers.
Yeah, but at the end of the year, they were the big story.
Right, but that's what I mean. Not until the postseason started.
Right, because, that was the...
But then still, if you're in
story.
the postseason, if you're the league, any league, you're going to get more money in your pockets from having a New York market team and an LA team in any sport versus Detroit and Utah, for example. Not that any Utah team's in the playoffs because all of them stink. But
Yeah.
that's my point. It's just New York, LA, Boston. Those are the three cities that.
But then what would be your defense for like the Cavs and OKC, who are the two best teams in basketball? Like, those aren't big markets. Cleveland's the size of Detroit in terms of market.
Right, but I think they've just, because of how dominant those two teams have been in the regular season, they really haven't had a choice. I feel like it's more of a choice when it comes to a Pistons situation, if that makes sense. Because the Cavs and OKC have been so dominant all year that they've had to talk about that. And they each won 65 games in the regular season.
Yeah.
So
I'm just not so quick to blame the league if we lose a game here and there with like questionable calls at the end. It's a hard sport. It's a hard sport to ref as well. Mistakes get made. That's just the way I look at it. But I know a lot of people don't have that opinion. A lot of people are just kind of like, yeah, they're cheating us out of this. And it's just kind of like, I'm not super quick to do that.
And it's really, to me, a market as a whole, kind of, but just with basketball here, this whole series, it's come down to the final possession or the final minute, whatever. And we saw the last home game in Detroit. Hardaway was fouled, didn't call it. And that's what I don't get, too. Right after the game, the officials, right after the game, we screwed up.
Would you rather of them said we didn't screw up when clearly they did?
There's two officials right in front of them when the play happens. Just make the correct call.
Right, but mistakes have been made. Mistakes are made.
That's a pretty big mistake.
I think back to the Galarraga perfect game. That wasn't the perfect
that was just stupid.
Well, but at least I was happier that Jim Joyce after that. And it's crazy still remembering Ump's name, but they usually have to be pretty bad to remember.
Angel Hernandez.
Yeah, but he was good his whole career, Jim Joyce. But yeah, I remember him totally accepting it afterwards and being like, yeah, I screwed up. That one was maybe a little bit more obvious, but still at least owned up to it compared to maybe other umpires. I feel like Angel Hernandez kind of got caught and no, my call is my call. And
personally,
your calls suck.
Maybe for most people it does, but for me, personally, it doesn't really make it the situation better, in my opinion, even after the game. Yeah, we screwed up.
Yeah, I just don't want them to be delusional. I just don't want them to be
just in general, the NBA is bad officiating to me, just in general. I mean, the NBA, once the league became, it's jacking up threes, drop my pen there, jacking up threes, no defense, very little contact, standing up, pump fake, cupcake whistles. When that all started, it's just been bad officiating in general.
That's modern NBA. That's what's happening in today's game. So I think it's a game-wide problem.
No, and it is a problem. It's a league-wide problem, and it's becoming worse in college too, especially now that they can challenge and review. Mm-hmm. In the last 2 minutes of each game, college, NBA takes an hour for the last 2 minutes.
Of course, that's always how it's been.
Even if it's not a 1 or 2 possession game in basketball, still, you look at the monitor, they take a 3-minute TV timeout. Mm-hmm. Now, as an announcer, I like TV timeouts because that's how I get paid. Yeah. But as a fan, it's ridiculous. So that's just the whole point I'm trying to make. It's just certain markets get certain things.
Yeah.
So, and when the Bulls were successful at the time, Chicago was major for the. I mean, they were the NBA.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say things went their way. Just they were just flat out just the best team of all time. I mean, but you get my point though. Well, certain markets.
Yeah, I just don't know how I feel like you would almost have to believe that they would get calls and different things. I mean, people say that Jordan pushed off in that final play, but because it was Jordan, You're not going to call that, and in that spot in the NBA Finals. And
No,
there is something.
I'm not in that group of people, but no, I get what you're saying.
Right.
But also then in the 90s, it was a lot physical. I mean, it was like football
For
out
sure.
there.
And that's what I wish it would go back to. I know it's never going to go back to that. We'll always talk about that, but
I think it's just going to get worse.
Yeah, probably.
Even before, if it gets better, it would be worse before it gets better. But it's just going to be worse.
And the NFL has its own problem with pass interference. I feel like that has to kind of be revamped.
Roughing the passer.
Yeah.
Pass interference.
I feel like we've gotten a little bit better. I feel like there was a time period where roughing the passer was really bad, where I don't
think it's so great now.
It's better than what it was at a point, because I remember quarterbacks would be barely touched and they would call it. At least now it's a little bit better.
Oh, and I think one of the 4 major leagues that's the most ridiculous with certain teams or players with officiating and attention, whatever you want to call it. I think the NFL's the worst with that.
Yeah, it's probably just because you don't like Patrick Mahomes.
Well, I don't think it's just Kansas City. I think it's most of it, but it's not just Kansas City. But Golden State and Minnesota can both gentlemen sweep tonight in Game 5.
Yeah, I wouldn't have predicted Minnesota. Golden State, I think a lot of people believed Golden State would kind of easily get through this series, at least. Even though they had to play in and do all that, I think they still were pretty confident. I know a lot of people had Golden State winning the whole thing, or at least getting to the finals. But Minnesota, I was very surprised by. I know how good they are, but going up against the Lakers, I thought it'd be a tougher time for them.
Looking at how the series has ended up for Golden State, and as tough as the Western Conference, how did Houston end up with a 2 seed?
They were good all year, man. They were good all year.
And that's another team that no national people really talked about much until the postseason. Just because they're in the postseason, they have to be on TV as Houston.
They were a 2 seed, right?
Right, but they didn't get really any attention during the regular season. Because you turn on ESPN or TNT during the week or on the weekend, and they weren't talking about Houston.
Yeah, but
they're talking about the Lakers, and they're talking about the Warriors and the Nuggets. The same 3 teams.
All boils down to national media is just not good. I think that's what this boils down to. That it
isn't good.
It's just,
and that's part of my point too. With certain markets getting certain attention, the Lakers could stink and miss the playoffs, or almost miss, like they did a couple years ago, even with LeBron, and they still only talk about the Lakers and the Warriors and the Nuggets.
Yeah.
So,
how are the Nuggets doing, by the way?
They are in a real good series with the Clippers.
So I was gonna say, last I saw, I think that was 2-2, maybe.
Yeah, game 5 was last night. So Game 6 is coming up again tomorrow.
Do you know who won that game last night?
I believe. Let's see this. I blame myself for this wonderful show prep I have here.
I'm looking it up right now. Hold on 2 seconds.
I believe it was the Clippers.
Ooh.
Because remember, Aaron Gordon tipped it in for Game 4.
That's right. No, Denver leads 3-2.
Yeah.
So Denver won. Denver beat the Clippers last night. So.
But I think that's been the best playoff series so far.
Yeah.
Other than the Pistons.
Yeah, I was going to say, I might say the Pistons might be the best one, just because all of those have been so close and so competitive, so back and forth the entire games. But yeah, I mean, I think it seems like, because the Timberwolves are a good team. I think the West is very interesting, because you're going to have, if the Nuggets win, Thunder Nuggets, that sounds like a good series. Timberwolves Warriors, that sounds like a good series. Even though both of those teams are considered the underdogs, that's 7 and 6 seed. Those are still both really good teams. Then the East, you have Cavs, Pacers, and then winner of Knicks, Pistons, and Celtics. I think the playoffs are very intriguing. I like all of these matchups coming up. Not really one where I'm just like, that team doesn't really deserve to be there. All those are really good teams.
I think the only one I could see maybe a possibility of not going to 6 or 7 games, to me, would be the Thunder series. I don't think it'll be 6 or 7 games, but I think if there's a chance of one series where that doesn't happen, I think it's that series. Because the Thunder beat the living out of Memphis. Now it's Memphis. But, and the Cavs, too. The Cavs swept Miami.
Well, I was going to say,
through them.
I almost feel like the West, both of the series in the West will go 6 or 7 games, but I feel like I could easily see the Cavs beating the Pacers in 5 games, and same thing with the Celtics against either the Knicks or Pistons. I could see that. So I think the East is not as not as close as maybe the West is. I think the East, we're just preparing for a Cavs-Celtics Eastern Conference final, where in the West, it's a little bit more like, hey, I could see the Nuggets could weirdly enough go on a run, or, the Timberwolves could go on a run and make it a little bit more interesting for OKC. But obviously OKC is the team we're thinking is going to be
The one
there.
series I'd be interested in the most is Minnesota Golden State.
Yeah,
you have
it's
two
close.
alpha players on each team. Anthony Edwards, very confident player, we'll say, and Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
Him and Dylan Brooks have been going at it the last couple of games. And Draymond and even Curry got into it with Dylan Brooks. Dylan Brooks was setting a screen on Curry, who was on defense, and bam.
Ooh.
So you get Anthony Edwards and Jimmy Butler going at it with Curry, and then you get Draymond in there. That's with Rudy Gobert. Remember Rudy Gobert and Draymond?
Mr. COVID.
Touching the
Oh, gosh.
But no, Rudy and Draymond have gotten into it before when Draymond's jersey ripped in half.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be a great series.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
You have Luka and LeBron on the same team, and you lose in 5 games.
I almost put money on them to make it to the NBA Finals, so I'm glad I didn't. But
by the way, before we go to break here, because I know there'll be a few minutes. We have a couple of prank calls to talk about.
Man.
But Floyd Mayweather, I don't know if you've seen this.
No, where is this going?
It's basketball related. Floyd Mayweather put a bet of $100K on Game 4 of the Cavs when they swept the Heat. The Cavs were only a -5.5 point favorite. Only. They won by like 59 points. But he put $100K on -5.5 or over, won by more or whatever. And obviously they won by like 38 or whatever it was. And he only won $200K. So he really only made $100K. He got his money back.
Oh, well, wait.
He put $100K on it,
and then he won.
He
200.
won $200.
Well, so then, okay. Well, yeah, that's usually how spreads go, though.
Well, I know. I mean, you got double his money.
Yeah. I mean, that's not bad. You still doubled your money.
I don't know why he would even bet on that game in the first place.
He must have liked the spread, and on top of that,
it's
look
an
at how
easy
much
bet.
they won. Look at how much they won. Historically, he's been kind of a big gambler when it comes to that kind of stuff, though. We've seen him.
Drake. You see Drake put $600K last week?
Dude's freaking betting on a video roulette in his freaking in his private jet flying from Canada to someplace. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. When we come back, the NFL has fined Atlanta for the Shedeur Sanders prank call, and no fines have been given out for this yet, but just had breaking news when we started recording this. Another player got prank called.
Oh, I'm curious. I don't know who.
I will tell you when we come back here on JTV. Welcome back on JTV. Thank you to the Insurance Circle agency, myinsuranccircle.com. Shedeur Sanders, of course, we know about the prank call from the NFL draft. Wednesday morning, the NFL officially fined the Atlanta Falcons $250K, and the defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich, Jeff. My name's Jeff.
My name's Jeff.
He got fined $100K.
Could you imagine costing your dad $100,000 for a prank?
Oh, dude. Yeah, he comes home from the facility or his office or whatever. Yeah, son, you just cost me $100K. How do you think Jax? I think that's his son's name. How do you think Jax and like his frat buddies feel now? Looking back at it.
I mean, they're probably thinking it's amazing.
Right. I mean, it costs your dad $100K, I would say, and it's not like defensive coordinators get paid as much as players do.
Right.
So, $100K is worth a little bit more for a DC.
Man, that's his college education right there.
I'm sure he got it fully paid for up front. I mean, even making that much money in the NFL as a D
Sure, but it's just
coordinator.
that is 4 years at a university, and
Ole
it was
Miss.
one dumb mistake. That's just nuts.
And another prank call
Yeah, what is this?
from Adam Schefter. It turns out that the kid who got drafted by the New York Giants, Abdul Carter, also got a prank call.
Really?
During the second pick after the Jags traded up.
Oh, that's screwed up.
And obviously they took Travis Hunter, but in which the caller said he was from the Jaguars and they were going to select him with the number 2 overall pick. Carter's agent, Drew Rosenhaus, said Abdul and I knew about it and knew it was BS, but didn't even tell Carter's family about it until this news came out just now.
That's okay. I mean, I'm okay with that. Not to get them involved and not to get them all upset, especially in the moment. I think that's the big thing.
Right after they hung up from the prank call, it was a real call from the Giants letting him know that they were taking him third.
That's cool. Well,
but the kids were telling him, or whoever did it was telling him that they was going to take him second, and that if he would have believed it, Travis Hunter would have been third.
Well, I bet you everybody probably knew that he wasn't going there, so that call just didn't work, where it was going to work for somebody later in the draft because you just don't know where you're going to go.
It would have worked for Shedeur because once he fell out of the top 5 or 10, nobody knew when he was going to get picked.
Right. Yeah, but that early, I think, especially when you're top few picks,
right?
Probably everybody knew when you're trading up for the number 2, you're going to get Travis Hunter. That was just kind of the thing.
Because you knew who was going to be the number 1 pick.
And then you knew who was going to be number 2.
And then you knew it was going to be number 2.
Yeah, so it was after
But then you knew after that who was going to be number 3.
That's true. So I feel like all those were kind of locked in. And I don't really think, and they probably knew the Jags did not have interest in him. So when they traded up,
because you knew whoever was going to be number 2 was going to take Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
Because before the trade, it was Cleveland. You knew Cleveland was going to take Travis Hunter because that's what all the mocks were. That was pretty much a done deal. Whoever was number 2 was going to take him, Cleveland or Jacksonville, whoever traded.
Do you think Travis Hunter, they're going to treat him as a two-way player? A lot of people are calling him the Ohtani of the NFL. Like, do you think
he already said he's going to play both ways wherever he goes? He's playing both ways.
I'm curious how that's going to work in the NFL. I'm curious if they're, he could be saying that now, but he's under contract with them. Coach might have different opinions on that.
Well, it's the Browns. They need all the help they can get on both sides.
Yeah.
So,
Jags.
Jags, I'm sorry.
But
Jacksonville too needs help.
But no, that's what I was going to say. I agree. Jacksonville still, they are a pretty bad franchise, so they need all the help they can get.
Right. So we'll find out if anybody gets fined or in trouble for that. I don't think so because it wasn't from a son of somebody from a team.
Do they know who it is?
Well, that we know of. We don't know yet. But right now, they haven't said anything that it's the same kind of situation. So chances are somebody probably won't get in as much of trouble as this Shedeur one.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Still, I think that Shedeur one's screwed up. It's hilarious, as I said last show, but man, it's
just as a regular, as regular dudes, we find it funny, of course.
Just guys being dudes.
Yep. And 2019 Jackson High School graduate and Saginaw Valley State linebacker Micah Kretzinger,
friend of the show.
Yes, has a chance to earn an NFL roster spot after going undrafted last week in Green Bay. He is getting invited to the Buccaneers rookie mini camp.
Hey, all right. I should have brought my Bucs hat today. I missed out.
You have a Bucs hat?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because Brady played for the Bucs, so of course for that small time period.
Then, why would you have a Buccaneers?
Well, because rooting for Tom Brady wherever he went. I think I have a hat for like 11 of the NFL teams, so I have a bunch. I have a bunch there.
Do you have any more room at home for all your hats?
No, not really. I have like a tub.
You got to keep them here.
Dude, yeah, I have a
that
tub
red bucket we have out there.
Yeah, that probably wouldn't even be. I have like I have one of those.
Even if it's organized,
ones. It'd be tough because snapbacks are a little bit bigger than normal hats. So
that's fair.
So, but yeah, I'm really good for Mike. I really hope that he can excel there, and they historically have some fun defenses. So I'd love to see him out there.
Now the thing is with mini camp and training camp. they don't have the 53 roster spots yet. So he's going to have to earn that, especially, and we've talked about it too. We talked about it in the interview, being a D2 player.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got to earn it.
Yeah. But I think they're going to see how good he is.
Now, if he just would have went to a Big Ten or an SEC school, much better chance just by where you played in college.
Yeah.
Alone. But, congratulations to him. Obviously, we're pulling for him.
Oh, 100%. And I think he's
all
going
of Jackson's supporting him.
Yeah, and I think he's going to be breaking that mold of a D2 player once they see him in minicamp. I think he'll. I don't think this is the last time we're going to see him. I'll tell you that.
No, and you look at another example, linebacker D2 Matthew Judon.
Yeah, that's right, and he's one of the greats that I loved watching my whole football life.
And even he said that when we talked.
Yeah,
to him,
yeah.
So.
From Grand Valley State.
Yep.
Yeah, Laker.
What is it? Anchor up? Is that not a W?
Anchor up.
Not a W like that.
Yeah, what is it? I can't remember.
I should just stop.
It's been a few years.
Yeah. Before we go to break, local softball news. Spring Arbor softball. They won their game yesterday in the Crossroads League tournament. So now they're in the rest of the league tournament. 6-team double elimination starting today, Wednesday. They take on Huntington from Indiana. If they lose, they will play in the elimination game tomorrow, Thursday, May 1st. I can't believe tomorrow's already May 1st, by the way.
I know.
We're only 3.5 weeks for it till Memorial Day.
Yeah, we're a month away from being at the halfway point of the year.
And we are just under a month away from the day after Memorial Day, Tuesday, the Selby Track and Field Classic on JTV. It will not be live, of course, but more details.
Yeah, and we are. When you look at the schedule, we are not incredibly far away from football media days. I mean, we're starting to do some prep work for that too. So it's like that's kind of getting to be around the corner as well. So then we got football season and all that good stuff.
Yes, thank you to everybody behind the scenes here helping us get ready for that. And thanks to all of our sponsors who always help us with media days. So,
and we're going to try to do something there again like we did last year. It's funny if you think about that. Like that was like show 2, 3,
those
or
are the
4.
first shows that we ever did.
Yeah, so those are some early ones. So we'll have to do something.
They'll be much
there.
better this year.
Yes,
not that they weren't.
I
good
promise.
last year,
I promise to everybody, it's going to be better.
We will be better.
We're 60-something shows in, so yeah.
We're what is this? 70?
No, I think this
68.
68, I think. Yeah.
9, 8.
68.
Okay.
69 is Monday.
It's Monday. Okay.
Yeah. 69.
That's not where I thought
is
you were
Monday.
With that.
No. 69 is Monday, and then 70 will be next Wednesday. Yeah.
Thank you. Now I forgot what else I was going. Now I forgot what else I was going to mention.
You were talking about Spring Arbor.
Yes.
Were you going to mention something else about that, or
no?
Just talking about episode numbers again. What are we doing?
No, media day.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Yes.
No, those were our first shows last year, and we will be bringing you more content from there this year.
Yep.
So we'll let you know during the summertime
as we get
that happens, and over the summer, some of our favorite guests we've ever had on the podcast, because we'll be coming up on a year with the show.
Yeah.
Late summer, so we'll have hopefully Dan Gallagher.
Oh, your favorite.
And Pat O'Dowd again. And Josh Burgett.
Yes.
And Andy Hawley. And Max Fritz. And whoever else wants to come on.
And I do know I talked with Austin. He wants to come on to talk about our setups and all that kind of stuff, what we do. And I would love to have him back on to
Don't let him in.
About that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I think we got some good guests planned for those.
Austin and Noah?
We'll see. We'll see what they're doing. I think
You have to tell them ahead of time that you can't vape on this show. You have to tell them before.
That's a good point.
Not when we're taping.
That's right. Yeah, we kind of ran into that last time. Yeah.
I wish I had that ready.
I know. Dang it! I should have had it queued up.
But no, a lot of great interviews this summer too. So might not be fully high school, college sports. Not a ton going on during the summer, but. Be better than nothing.
Yeah, and we're still good at... Wow, what a sell. Be better than nothing.
I'm keeping it real.
I guess, but you got to sell it a little bit better than that. It won't just be better than nothing. I think we're going to have tons of fun. We'll do a couple segments as well throughout the summer, too. So
golf.
We got a lot planned.
It's been great weather already.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Golf. I guess it's more of a winter thing, but golf simulators, that's a big thing.
Well,
now.
yeah, I thought that'd be fun to do something like that.
We've done pickleball already.
Yep.
Maybe we'll go back there. I don't know.
I'm gonna go play some more pickleball.
This is news to you. I'm just sharing this.
No, get schooled by Stu Kale again. I can't wait to see it.
Easy. I scored a couple of points. Him and Joe Hawley are the two best pickleball players in Jackson County. I had no chance to begin with.
And not to make you feel bad, but he definitely went easy on you. You know, he was kind of just lobbing him over there for you.
But I already knew going in he was really good.
yeah, and he is.
Can we get Stu Kale, Joe Hawley, D Rice, and somebody else pickleball on the show?
We could arrange that. I bet you we could arrange something like that.
Yeah.
I like that. How about we get Noah as your partner?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I could call.
I'd rather play by myself 2v1.
I could call Teague. Teague could maybe help you out.
Absolutely not.
We'll find somebody for you.
When we come back to wrap up the show, 2 of the 4 hockey games in the playoffs from Tuesday went to overtime. Hurricanes in Vegas.
Yeah, I gotta check. I haven't checked how Edmonton's doing. They're my pick. I gotta see if they bounce back.
Get a check on them.
Yeah.
Man. And the Tigers real quick. So we'll be back to wrap it up. Welcome back here on JTV. Thank you, the Insurance Circle Agency. Real quick before we wrap up the show here, NHL playoffs. I had another work obligation late Tuesday evening.
We all know what that means.
Well, we don't have to share.
No,
that.
I'm not sharing. I'm just saying. I know what that means.
It was a long event.
Yeah, it was. Even
when I got home at like 10 o'clock, there was still... Shout out to YouTube TV. They're not a sponsor of ours. They should be.
They should be.
They'd give us a lot of money, too. I got the multi-view with the basketball and the hockey on. And even at 10 o'clock, there's still 4 games on at once.
Ooh.
Which is great, for us late night people. But 2 of the 4 games Tuesday night went to overtime. Hurricanes 5-4 in double overtime, actually. Double over the Devils.
And that was to win that series, so they're moving on.
Yep. And Vegas 3-2 over the Wild, Minnesota.
And I just looked. Edmonton has, after being down 0-2, everybody was panicking. They win 3 straight, so now they're up 3-2. I'm telling you, Edmonton's going to be. I'm telling you, Edmonton's going to be the team. I'm telling you. I think
they play tonight too, right? Game 6, because they didn't play yesterday.
Tomorrow. It'll be tomorrow. Yep.
Okay.
They had an extra day off, but it'll be tomorrow on ESPN, 10 p.m. So that'll be a late one.
Well,
everybody stay up to watch the Oilers advance.
And Pistons at 7.
Yeah.
And then hockey at 10.
Busy sports.
Tigers at 10 because they'll be in LA.
That's right, against the Angels.
Yeah.
So we should handle that series. Ohtani. No, well the Angels, not the Dodgers.
Yeah.
But he used to play for the Angels. I mean, boy, sorry to go on this little side rant, but how the heck
gotta wrap it up, man.
I know, but how the heck did that Angels team suck so bad when they had Ohtani and Mike Trout? Doesn't make any sense.
Mike Trout has been dealing with injuries.
I know, it sucks.
Because before the injury started, before his age started to become a factor in that,
easily the best player in baseball.
Easily the best player in baseball.
It's just
and then once he started having injuries, then for a couple years it was Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
And now it's Ohtani by far.
Yeah, and I would say in the American League, it's Aaron Judge at least. You can at least say that Aaron Judge is the best player in the American League, but overall it's Ohtani.
Tarek Skubal.
I mean, I would love to say he's the best pitcher in baseball. I'll tell you that. Even with that shaky start to the season he's had, he still leads the team in ERA. He still leads the team in strikeouts. He'll lead the team in
Paul
wins.
Skeens number 2.
Yeah, probably.
Sorry, I'm just blurting.
You're just naming guys.
Yeah. I can't think of any other pitcher. That's it.
No,
that's it. 1 and 2.
Zach Wheeler, Chris Sale. You had some other guys there.
Yep. Chris Sale. I forgot about Chris
Yeah,
Sale.
Sale.
He played for the Tigers, right?
No,
Or am I thinking of a different?
He played for the White Sox, though, so you probably saw him against the Tigers a lot because when he was in the White Sox,
that would make
he was,
sense.
He was
I'm
always
thinking.
tough.
I'm thinking of somebody else.
Thinking of Scherzer, probably.
No, not Scherzer.
Pfister, Porcello, Doug Fister.
What did you just say?
Doug Fister? You don't remember Doug Fister? Well, that would have been, man, you would have been probably pretty young in like 2011, 2012.
Yeah.
You're going to make me feel bad if you say how old you were then.
No, I'm not going to share
Okay,
that.
good. Thank goodness. But yeah, like.
But I was very young in 2011, 12.
Man, that was like prime Tigers time for me. Now we're pretty darn good. I'll say that. But.
In what grade was I in? No, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, please. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Tigers are at the Angels Thursday through Sunday. 4 easy wins for them.
Yeah, and then we got the Rockies.
Who are also awful.
Hey, remember, I guaranteed a sweep of the Rockies, so we're going to do that.
Is it a sweep of the Angels too? Is it 8 in a row or 7 wins in a row?
We'll lose 1 to the Angels. Just because stuff happens in baseball.
Games.
It's 4 games?
Yeah, Thursday through Sunday.
So we'll go 3-1, I guess, against them, and then we'll sweep the Rockies. And I think we win today, this game today, with Jackson Jobe on the mound against the Astros last game in Houston. And it starts at 2 p.m., so that's going to be before this show airs. So I guess we'll know by this point. So I might look like an idiot, but I'll say Jobe gets the win. Dominant performance from him.
I like your thinking.
Yeah.
Before we go, thank you to the Insurance Circle Agency, Pataki Orthodontics, ORS for helping us bring you all of our photo galleries online at JTV.tv, Center for Family Health for the scoreboard, and Minuteman Sewer and Drain for helping us bring you our title sponsor for our high school sports coverage on JTV. So subscribe to JTV Sports. Check out our scoreboard. Everything I pretty much said earlier in the show, too.
That's right.
So got to keep promoting it.
Yeah.
That's why.
Of course.
I got to promote my scoreboard. Man.
Yeah, of course. You work hard on that sucker.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you. And that was after my other work obligation last night, too.
I saw you sent out that post pretty late. I was surprised.
Yeah.
I was already in bed and I heard my phone go off and I was like, who's emailing me? And then I look and I saw the email of the scoreboard and I was like, oh boy.
You got an email from that? When did I send you an email?
The email that you send it to, I have on my phone, so I also get those notifications.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because since I do,
now I feel bad for you because
no, you're fine. We're pulling back the curtain here, but
no,
I'm not gonna say. But the I do some of the morning show prep, so that is why I get that because I have to know it in case something comes in that I need to do super late. So
right.
I wasn't given any other specifics. I was just saying.
Sure,
yeah.
Anyways, hopefully it's going to rain tomorrow, Thursday. The chance of us being live at JC.
I know. I would love to still do it, but I just don't think it's going to happen. It's not baseball in the rain doesn't work.
Saturday's JC's last regular season game or doubleheader. 2 games on Saturday at Macomb, and they play Macomb tomorrow.
Good luck to them. Hopefully we can get the game in, but if we don't, it was a fun baseball season.
It was. Very short. Only 2 games.
So short. I know. But at least one of them was a doubleheader.
Yeah, one. Both.
Yeah. No,
the first one.
Yeah, the first one wasn't, but the second one, at least we got a doubleheader out of the deal.
Anyways, we got to get out of here. Thank you, the Insurance Circle Agency. Hopefully, if you have high school sports, it doesn't rain on you Friday or Saturday because it's going to rain tomorrow.
Yep.
So that's Adam. I'm David, and have a good weekend. Enjoy the weather when it's not raining. So it's great out. So we'll talk to you Monday.
Go Tigers.